The truth between pages me name is Diana Morrison, and I'm 62 years old. I've worn glasses since my 30s, and my natural hair has become my crown soft, thick, and graying beautifully at the temples. I've always believed that authenticity shows in the small things, the way you wear your hair, the honesty in your smile, the trust you place in the people you love. For 37 years, I trusted my husband, Robert, completely. We met in college. He was studying theology, and I was pursuing education. Robert had this gentle way about him, always patient, always kind. He became a pastor at Riverside Community Church, and I taught 5th grade at Lincoln Elementary. We built a life together. A good life, I thought. Our home was filled with warmth. Sunday dinners after service, garden work on Saturday mornings, evening walks where we'd hold hands and talk about everything and nothing. We never had children, but we poured our love into our community, our church family, our students. I trusted him with everything. Last month, on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, I was dusting Robert's study. He was at a church council meeting. His leather-bound Bible sat on his desk, the one his grandmother gave him when he was ordained. I'd seen it 1,000 times, but that day, when I picked it up, a folded piece of paper slipped out and floated to the floor. I bent down slowly. My knees aren't what they used to be, and picked it up. The paper was worn, creased multiple times, like it had been opened and refolded many times over the years. I unfolded it. The handwriting was Robert's. Just 7 words written in blue ink. If she discovers the truth, kill her. My hands started shaking. The paper trembled between my fingers. My heart began racing so fast I thought I might faint. I sat down in his desk chair, staring at those words, reading them again and again, hoping I'd misunderstood. But there was no misunderstanding. 7 words that clear. Kill her. Kill me. I sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. My mind raced through our entire marriage. Every kind word, every gentle touch, every "I love you" whispered in the dark. Had it all been a lie? What truth was he hiding? And how long had he been hiding it? I heard the front door open. Robert was home. I quickly refolded the note and slipped it into my pocket. I stood up, smoothed my blouse, and walked out of the study with my heart pounding in my chest. Diana? You home, sweetheart? His voice was warm, familiar. The same voice that had comforted me through my mother's death, celebrated my small victories, prayed over our meals. In the kitchen, I called out. Surprised at how steady my voice sounded, he came in, kissed my cheek like he always did. How was your day? I looked at this man I'd loved for decades. His salt and pepper. Here, the reading glasses hanging from his collar. The wedding ring I'd placed on his finger 37 years ago. It was fine, I said. Just fine. That night, I couldn't sleep. Robert snored softly beside me, peaceful and innocent looking. I stared at the ceiling, that note burning like fire in my nightstand drawer where I'd hidden it. What truth? What had he done? The next morning, I called my friend Margaret. We've known each other since our 20s. She's a retired social worker with a sharp mind and a kind heart. I need to tell you something, I said when we met for coffee at our usual spot, Rosemary's CF downtown. I showed her the note. Margaret's eyes widened. She read it twice, then looked at me with concern. Diana, have you called the police? And tell them what? My husband wrote something cryptic in a note. They'd think I'm a paranoid old woman. You need to find out what truth he's talking about, Margaret said, her hand covering mine carefully. So I became a detective in my own home. I started going through Robert's things when he was at the church. His desk drawers, his files, his computer, though I'm not very good with technology, and he'd password protected everything. I found nothing for 2 weeks. Then, one Saturday, Robert mentioned he needed to visit a parishioner in the hospital in the next county. He'd be gone most of the day after he left. I went back to his study. I pulled every book off his shelf. I checked behind picture frames. I went through old boxes in our closet, and then I found it, hidden inside a lockbox. On the top shelf of his closet, under old tax returns, was a manila envelope. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to Robert, from someone named Catherine Winters. My hands shook as I read them. They were love letters, spanning 23 years. Catherine wrote about their secret meetings, the hotel rooms, the lies they told to see each other. She wrote about how much she loved him, how patient she'd been, waiting for him to leave me. 23 years of infidelity. More than half our marriage. But that wasn't the worst part. In the most recent letter, dated just 3 months ago, Catherine wrote, "I'm tired of hiding, Robert. I'm going to tell Diana everything. She deserves to know the truth. I deserve to be acknowledged." And beneath that letter was Robert's handwritten reply. "Unsent. Don't do this, Catherine. I'll handle Diana. If she learns the truth, I'll have no choice. I've invested too much to lose everything now, my reputation, my church, my legacy. If you force my hand, I'll have to make this go away permanently." Stay quiet, or we both lose. I understood now. The note wasn't about killing me because of some theological secret or church scandal. It was about protecting his image, his precious reputation as the beloved Pastor Robert Morrison. If I discovered his 23-year affair, his entire world would crumble. His church would dismiss him. Our community would reject him. He'd lose everything he'd built on a foundation of lies, and he was willing to kill me to prevent that. I sat on our bedroom floor, surrounded by evidence of his betrayal, and I cried, not just for the affair, but for the years I'd given him, the trust, the loyalty, the love that I now knew had been one-sided for more than 2 decades. But then I stopped crying, and I started thinking. I'm a teacher. I've spent 40 years helping children solve problems. I knew one thing for certain. I needed to be smart about this. I photographed every letter with my phone. Margaret had taught me how. I put everything back exactly as I'd found it. I locked the box. I closed the closet. I went downstairs and made tea. When Robert came home that evening, I smiled at him. "How was Mrs. Patterson?" "Doing better," he said. "Surgery went well. That's wonderful," I said. "I'm so glad." Over the next week, I consulted with Margaret and a lawyer she trusted, a woman named Rachel Chun, who specialized in family law and took my case pro bono when she heard my story. "We need to be strategic," Rachel said. "If you genuinely believe he might harm you, we need to ensure your safety first." We created a plan. I went to the police and filed a report, showing them the note and the letters. Detective James Walsh took my case seriously. "We can't arrest him for writing a note," he explained, "but we can monitor the situation, and this evidence of threat will help you in divorce proceedings." I moved money into a private account. I packed a bag and left it at Margaret's house. I documented everything, and then, on a Sunday morning after church service, I did what I'd been planning for 2 weeks. Robert and I were in his study. The congregation had gone home. The church was quiet. "Robert," I said calmly, "I need to talk to you about Catherine Winters." His face went completely white. For a moment, he couldn't speak. "Diana, I have found the letters," I continued, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "All of them. 23 years worth." He stood up, his hands shaking. "Let me explain. I also found your note. The one about killing me if I discovered the truth." The color drained from his face completely now. "That wasn't. I didn't mean that the police have copies of everything," I said. "So does my lawyer. So do 3 other people. If anything happens to me, anything at all, they'll know exactly where to look." Robert sank back into his chair. "Diana, please." "I never would have actually." "You wrote it down, Robert. You thought about it. You calculated what you'd lose versus what you'd gain." Tears rolled down his cheeks. "I love you." "No," I said quietly. "You loved what I represented. The faithful pastor's wife, the respectable marriage, the image of moral perfection." "Please don't destroy me," he whispered. I looked at this man who'd shared my bed for 37 years, who'd betrayed me for 23 of them, who'd considered murdering me to protect his reputation. "I won't destroy you, Robert, but I won't protect you either. You'll resign from the church today. You'll tell the board you're stepping down for personal reasons, and you'll give me an uncontested divorce with a fair settlement." "The church will ask questions," he said. "Let them," I replied. "You can tell them as much or as little as you want. But I'm done being part of your carefully constructed lie." He looked up at me, broken and defeated. "What about Catherine? That's your problem now, not mine." I walked out of that study, out of that church, and out of that life. The divorce took 6 months. Robert resigned from Riverside Community Church, citing personal struggles that he needed to address. Some people judged me for leaving him, assuming I was the one who'd lost faith. Others quietly understood and offered support. I didn't explain myself to anyone I didn't want to explain myself to. I'd spent enough years living for other people's opinions. Catherine Winters. She reached out to me once, trying to apologize. I told her I forgave her, not for her sake, but for mine. Carrying hatred is exhausting, and I'd been exhausted enough. Robert married her about a year after our divorce was final. I heard they moved to another state. I hope they're happy. Or at least honest with each other now. As for me, I am 63 now. I still wear my glasses and my natural hair. I retired from teaching, and I volunteer at the community center 3 days a week, helping adults learn to read. I bought a small house with a garden where I grow tomatoes and basil. Margaret comes over every Sunday for dinner, and we laugh about things that once would have made us cry. I've learned that betrayal doesn't always announce itself with dramatic revelations. Sometimes it's just 7 words on a piece of paper, tucked inside something sacred. I've learned that love requires truth, and truth requires courage, and I've learned that starting over at 62 isn't ending, it's finally, beautifully, beginning again. The truth did set me free, just not in the way Robert feared. It set me free from him.